Hello, everybody. Just your friendly neighborhood INFP, and welcome to today's episode. I've been struggling a little bit to figure out what to talk about, and well, I have come across the topic of cancel culture because it's something that needs to be talked about. Now, for those of you who don't know, or actually almost everybody by this point should know, cancel culture is a modern day witch hunt against opinions of which you hate so much that you will go out of your way. Well, it's not just opinions, but opinions and actions that you hate so much that you'll go out of your way to end that person's career in the best possible way you can, whether it be boycotting, unsubscribing, etc., 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 getting their channel removed, whatever. The idea is you're canceling them, you're getting rid of them, you're doing as much possible harm you can to them. And to be honest, it's a little bit like Monty Python's skit in The Quest for the Holy Grail.
We have found the witch, may we burn her?
How do you know she is a witch?
She looks like one.
Yeah, she looks like one. Bring her forward.
So I was thinking about cancel culture and its origination. But there is this thing where I was wondering, could an INFP be involved in cancel culture? And if so, what MBTI types are more likely to be involved in cancel culture? And the restrictions of freedom of speech and the restrictions of what you're able to do, because the actions of which one is allowed to do and allowed to say and allowed to be are consistently shrinking more and more each day. And if you're not noticing that, I honestly can't help you. But I was thinking, who would cause such a thing? And I discovered that, like, my initial gut reaction, and this is completely unfair to all FJ types, just like right off the bat, I understand that. But that was my instinctive gut reaction, that it came from FJ types. But then I began to ponder it a little bit further, and it can actually come from all types for multiple different reasons. It can come from thinkers who enjoy stirring up the bee's nest, so to speak. Doesn't matter which side you go on, it's the idea that you're stirring up the bee's nest. So there's that. They don't honestly actually care. I mean, some might, but like most of them, not really. They just enjoy reveling in the chaos that they potentially may have helped create. Then you have the others who are in the conformist camp, which is essentially to say, if you're not following these social norms and these social niceties and these social practices that we have deemed to be good and moral and societally acceptable, and if you aren't following these hierarchical cases, then there's going to be issues. We're going to come after you. So there's that. The whole be nice or we'll make sure you're out type group mentality, hierarchical mentality, societal mentality, whatever you want to call it. So there's that. And then there's the ones that go, well, I personally was affected by this and don't like what they said about me, and so therefore I will go after them for this, because how dare they, do this and whatever. So the kinds of types across the spectrum, and you have this thing on the other side where, across the spectrum, it's like, we should look at everybody's opinions and get along swimmingly. Rarely happens. You have the types that go, okay, I may have been attacked by this, or, this person may be a little mean, but everybody should have, the right to say whatever they want. Then you have the types who are, of course, debating why it's not okay. The ones who are using logic to go after these issues. And so it's at the end of the day, it's a big chaotic mess. And I was thinking of myself as an INFP, because I would never, heaven help me if I ever wish the canceling of somebody. I may not like that something exists, and may be happy that something ended, perhaps, but I'm not going to go out of my way to end it specifically. Like, if there's a show that absolutely sucks, I'm not going to go out of my way to get rid of that show. If there is a person who absolutely sucks, I'm not going to go out of my way to get rid of their livelihood. If there is something else that absolutely sucks, or I don't like, I'm not going to go out of my way to remove it. I may talk about it, may say why I don't like it, but it will still be allowed to exist. The problem with cancel culture is the people want to be able to delete everything. They don't want it to exist anymore. They want it gone. They want it burned down. They want it destroyed. And in a lot of cases, when they see that it works, they're like, oh, I have more power. I have more power. I have more power. We can keep doing this to everybody we hate. Let's do this to everybody we hate. And that is, by and large, a very unhealthy state to be in. And it is a very, shall I say, selfish state to be in. And it's that saying that's like, it's always fun and games until somebody else gets hurt, or until you get hurt. And so you're like, oh, well, it's fine if it happens to these people I don't like, but then when it's reversed and it's put on you, then you're like, how could they do this to me? How could, I did nothing to deserve this. There's a saying that goes, what goes around comes around. Inevitability, the things you put out there, the things you attack, or the things you revel in will come back around to haunt you, or come back around to attack you. People may call it karma. I call it, what goes around comes around. And there's another saying that, of course, goes, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Which, once again, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And there's this thing that people aren't able to breathe, or relax, or calm down, or chill, or whatever, because they're so instantly, emotionally reactive to that issue as soon as it comes up, because, oh, I don't like it, I'm going to attack it. Not a healthy state to be in. I, as an INFP, of course, will get extraordinarily defensive when something hits my core values, or me as a person, or the people I care about. I will get extraordinarily defensive, and extraordinarily stubborn, and extraordinarily illogical in defending my point. I understand this about myself, and I'm still trying to figure out how to wrestle with that, so to speak. Which not a lot of people, admittedly, do. There are people with that sense of self-awareness where they look at themselves and they go, okay, well, hold on, wait. I was dumb then. How do I change this about myself now? Cancel culture throws all of that out the window. It is a complete ball of emotional hatred towards something you do not like. and you want to essentially bring out the lynch mob and go right after whatever it is that you hate. Which, okay, fine, I guess. Not really. It should never really happen in the first place. And especially since, like, knowing that the more you do it, the more restrictions comes, the more totalitarian things become, the more dictatorial things become, the more frigid things come, the more things that usually were made to make fun of things start going away, the more people start walking around eggshells. And if you're constantly walking around eggshells out of fear that you're going to get canceled out of one thing you said, or out of multiple things you said, or multiple jokes you said that people didn't like, that's a problem, and it is signs, I believe, of a extraordinarily fragile and unhealthy society of various personality types across the spectrum. I would be remiss to see FI users support cancel cultures. I would be remiss to see any type support, yet there they are, supporting cancel culture. And I'm just going, none of this makes sense. None of this is okay. None of this is right. None of this is acceptable. None of this should be allowed. None of this should happen. Because once again, it is a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt that then once again gives those people power, and those people continue to doing that because now they're addicted to that power, knowing that they can ruin somebody else's livelihood, and they keep spiraling. It's a lot like activism. Activism and cancel culture, I feel, go hand in hand, and if you don't know how that happens, I'd be happy to demonstrate, but that's not the point of this video. Because, there is good and there is bad activism, and there are, it's a complicated issue. But regardless, the next thing that happens is people begin to become even softer and even softer and even softer until they're unable to handle the slightest criticism. Now, somebody said, or I can't remember the exact words, but to paraphrase, somebody said that it's very telling that when somebody gives criticism and yet isn't able to take it in return, which I find very true, and it is very much like cancel culture. They'll give the criticism, they'll do the attacking, they'll do all that stuff. You turn it around on them, and oh boy, they start freaking out because they don't realize the can of worms that they have opened potentially on themselves, which always happens during moments of cancel culture. And it's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see, especially since I know that I can't really do anything about it except talk about it. I can't do anything about it except show through my own actions. I can't do anything about it except around my own very vicinity. And that doesn't have a large reach by any way, shape, or means. I'm not a very charismatic person. I don't have oodles and oodles of friends. I'm not like Mr. Beast, who goes out and does a bunch of good in their communities and their YouTube channel and so on and so forth. I am not that person. I'd like to have at least some semblance of that. But most and large, I am very reserved, or I am sort of reserved. Not maybe very reserved, but I am reserved. Saying very reserved is a little bit too extreme, I think. Now, with all that being said, what can be done about it? What should a person do if something comes up that they don't like? What should a person do if an opinion that they don't share comes up? What should happen that won't necessarily hurt others in the process, but you're just going, I'm just not doing this for myself. I'm not going to attack them or whatever. It's just, I'm going to do this. There is a very good scene. I think the movie was called Avalon, or was it called Merlin? I want to say it was called Avalon. And in it, there is a scene. It came out in the 90s. And I believe it came out. Hold on. Yeah, I want to say it came out in the 90s. That's when I saw it. Like, I saw it in the 90s, so it could have come out in the 90s, but it could have come out earlier. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here. But in it, Merlin is facing off with Queen Mab, who had been instigating a lot of the issues with King Arthur and causing a lot of the problems and wanting to bring back things in the Fey way. She wanted to bring back Fey traditionalism, and she was moving the pieces of the scene, pieces of her puzzle to bring this all back. And Merlin's like, "You're done." He's like, "Well, why you don't have power over me?" He's like, "I do, because I know beings like you can't exist if no one believes in you, if no one looks at you. If you don't get attention, you cease to exist." And the idea is that he and the rest of them just turned their backs on her and walked away.
What are you doing?
You can't fight us or frighten us. You're just not important enough anymore. We forget you, Queen Mab. Go join your sister in the lake and be forgotten.
They didn't attack her. They didn't smear her. They didn't do any of that. They just ignored. They just decided to ignore everything she said, everything she did, everything. Like, they didn't try and oust her from the platform because that would have caused more chaos. They didn't try and fight her physically to throw her off because, once again, that wouldn't have worked. They just simply ceased to listen. They ceased to believe. They ceased to acknowledge. And I think that would be a better way. Like, in a sense, somebody could say, "Oh, but you're still canceling somebody with that." Okay, sure, but you are doing it in a non-violent way. You are doing it in a sense of, I personally am going to take action and have nothing to do with this. You're not going to cause up a storm. You're not going to cause up anything. You're just going to quietly walk away. You're just going to quietly turn around and leave. Now, granted, doing that is extraordinarily difficult. It's extraordinarily difficult for myself. But I think those who have like the strongest willpower to do that are the actual strong ones. And it shows a certain strength that is rarely seen today, because today everybody wants to attack somebody else and everybody wants to cause drama and everybody wants to, "Oh, what's the latest gossip? Ooh, I'm so bored. What juicy thing is happening now?" And it's like, "Oh, drama, I need to know more," which ironically sounds like it would be a Fee's bread and butter, because it's often said to be Fee's bread and butter to like, drama, yes, let's find out more, ooh, juicy gossip, Not everybody is into that, obviously. I just like to know what's going on around me, and then be like, really, this, whatever. But the idea is that if you truly want to not support somebody and you don't want to attack them or whatever, just ignore them. Like, nothing is stopping you from not watching their videos. Nothing is stopping you from not acknowledging them. Nothing is stopping you from not reading their posts. Nothing is stopping you from not, getting emotionally bent over shape over something that you didn't even look at, read, whatever. And yet, because of people's desire for drama, and this is where I think cancel culture comes in, is that as soon as that trigger is pulled and that drama sparks, that's when chaos comes in, and the drama and all of that. It is my thoughts on what cancel culture is. So, with that being said, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.